Bonsoir, mon amours. C'est jeudi à soir. It's Thirsty Thursday. It's our weekly romance reading, the Romance Angels Oracle deck. How's everyone? I'm good. I'm really good. I'm on day 3 of 3 days off this week, and I feel good. I was really tired. I needed the rest. I had a chance to kind of like meander, but also create and like do chores. I didn't get to do, I want to do a deep clean of the house, like a big spring clean. I haven't got to do that yet, but I've gotten like preliminary cleaning out of the way, other things that needed to get done. And I went on a forest frolic, and there were shenanigans and mischief about. And yeah, let's see what we have in store for our love life this week. I've got 2 cards that have fallen out. I'm not gonna look at them yet, but yeah, let's see. Heavenly Father, Mother, Son, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, Romance Angels here for our highest good. What do we need to know for our love lives this week so that we can fully align with what is in resonance with us and avoid what is not in resonance with us? Avoid the pitfalls of our patterns from the past. What can we do to avoid those self-defeating tendencies? Ooh, okay, well those 2 came out together, so we'll just take that into consideration. Ooh, okay. All right, we got a bunch of cards today, so we'll just start with the pile that was going to be the first 3. I wanted to do this outside, but then my neighbors had set up their barbecue, and like they're really conservative Christians who work for a church. And I'm like, I don't know, probably a thorn in their flesh. So I didn't want to go out there and do my, like, you know, hedonistic card reading video while they're trying to have like their evening like dinner, like just cook. It would be weird anyway. I'd be feel too on the spot. So here we are. Okay, yeah, so, oh my God, our first card. Calling in your soulmate. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. I mean, for weeks now, we have had messages in regards to calling in our soulmate coming from this deck and the Mermaids and Dolphins Manifestation Oracle. Not to mention things coming up in our tarot readings that are like alignment of divine masculine and feminine energies. So we have all the conditions for a soulmate warning. It's like in the South when we get tornado warnings, you kind of know that one might be coming because like when it's been cool out and then suddenly it gets like warm and then like kind of humid, it's like that cool system and the warm system collide, and they start like this circular vortex, and so that is what creates the conditions for a possible tornado. So I feel like we have like conditions are really, I've got like a car like going really slow outside my house and like looking over at me, and I think it's my neighbor, but I'm like, why is everybody making me feel so weird? So yeah, we have all the conditions and trappings right now of calling in our soulmate, because we have been really moving and shaken, and we've been editing parts of our lives that just like aren't really resonating with us anymore, or that are throwing us out of alignment. We have been replacing those with things that are true to our authenticity and that evoke feelings of love and excitement and joy within ourselves. And so as we tune in and fine tune our frequency into like who we are at our core, like we're getting in touch with our soul. We're getting intimately connected with our soul. And so that tells the universe, intimacy, connection, soul. It starts calling in your soulmate. And the more you can hold that frequency where you're like really resonating with yourself and your life and what's going on, then the more sustained that signal is, and the stronger it is, and the more consistent it is for someone to, say, cross paths who's also tuning into that same station, if you will. So conditions are ripe for calling in our soulmate, and it's good to just not be too controlling or obsessive about it. Just be relaxed and surrender to the fact that it's just going to be like the timing is out of your hands. And even if you're ready, if the other person's ready, even if it's the right person, if they're not ready, it's just not going to work out at the moment. So just be patient, and when the stars are aligned and both people are ready, like the paths will cross and the timing will meet up. Separation. It may be that you've already brushed like crossed paths or come very close energetically to your soulmate, and so now you are feeling like a more acute pain of the separation. So separation, time apart from your partner, is on the horizon. So if you're already with someone, you might be just like going out of town, or you might just like maybe just take more time for yourself and let that separation on a daily or weekly basis be time away from your partner to like build the desire for one another through missing one another, through spending time on your own, like just paying attention to your own needs for that, period, and just spending that time independently so you're not so codependent. And when you spend time alone doing the things that you like, you feel more enthusiastic about being with your partner. If you don't have a partner, I would say, and I think that the theme here is that you feel the feeling of being separated from the person that you want to be with. And you can actually feel this even if you don't even know the person yet. It's just that your soul is kind of like already connected with them on a 5D level or a non-physical level. And so there's that longing and desire to unite in the 3D or the physical, the material world here. And so now is a matter of trying to be patient and relaxed and not over controlling, so the universe can help shift you and move you and guide you. It's funny, today I was gonna be headed out onto my walk a little sooner, a little earlier, but I got kind of held up with just like random things, and I was just like kind of annoyed because I was ready to go, but I just trusted the universe, because I found that a lot of times when I have been delayed in the past, it's created a synchronistic moment. And I think that it's funny because I think that the timing may have come into play today in my day. So what to say about that? So yeah, the separation. Separation with soulmates and twin flame and those kinds of things, it's part of the journey because it causes you to look inward on like get even more devoted and more serious about cleansing your heart and your soul and your mind, and doing that correction and preparing yourself so that you have the best chances at a really fulfilling relationship when you do come back together and realign with your soulmate. Let's see, what is this? Let your friends help. Ask for and accept support from others. So maybe people have some insight about this. Maybe they have, I don't know, some good advice, or maybe they're just far enough away from it than you are where they can give like an accurate sort of like, temperature of the situation, or like just, I don't know, somebody may have some advice, or maybe one of your friends brings up that they want to go somewhere or do something specific, and you're like, maybe, maybe I should, maybe it leads to something. So just be open to that. Ask the universe to send you the help that you need. We can have all kinds of helpers and friends. They don't necessarily have to be in the material world, or necessarily friends that we know already, right? It can just be little like stranger helpers, right? Angel helpers through people. So you just never know. So enlist heaven to help you for your highest good, and calling in your soulmate, right? Or your next partner, whatever your love goals are. And so when I asked what was holding us back, what we needed to be aware of, what were like the pitfalls that we needed to overcome, I got release your ex, which like all the things that we need to do to prepare and get ourselves ready and get all the obstacles out of the way of having a fulfilling relationship. Part of that is just releasing the ex. And maybe you don't even love your ex anymore. Maybe you don't even want to be your ex, but do you still have the echoes of the horrible things that they said to you running through your mind, making you question yourself? I mean, nobody gets out of a relationship unscathed. People say things that they don't mean. And chances are they probably weren't working on themselves the way that you were. And so they probably weren't fighting in the most elevated conscious ways either. And if you are an empath like I am, then you might find that you attract people like narcissists, or people who love bomb you, or people who manipulate or control you, right? And so you've got to be able to shake off those experiences from the past, so that when you go into something new, when you go into this next thing, you can give it a shot with a clean slate, not really like jaded by your past, or like looking over your shoulder for the same thing to play out the same way again. It's like you can be honest with yourself and aware of your intuition and be observant and mindful about what the person is presenting to you for real. But in the end, you don't want to be overly paranoid or project on them your expectations according to how people were in your past, because they're not those people. They deserve a fair chance. And children, your love life is being affected by children. So this, I mostly associate that your love life is being affected by your own inner child, or your prospective soulmate or lover or beloved's inner child. That inner child healing could benefit the coming together or the union or the improvement or deepening of a romantic relationship. It's never a bad idea, because it's usually the inner child stuff that keeps us from having deep, intimate, mature, like emotionally mature relationships. And it usually also causes sexual dysfunction within the relationship, mostly like low sex drive or just like mismatched sex drives. So pay attention to inner child stuff that's coming up this week. The last couple of weeks, I've had the assignment to work on like inner shadow, like actually integrating the things that people try to make you feel ashamed about, like actually accepting those about yourself and embracing them and appreciating those things about yourself. And then also doing the inner child work, which is not only going back and sort of like being there for your inner child, like when these memories come up that were like hard to process when you were little, you can go back and kind of step in and save the inner child, or go in afterwards and like reassure the inner child. Now you might be playing small or avoiding something that your heart desires because you don't want to ruffle some feathers. And it might be because your inner child is wanting to, you know, hold on to certainty and security, and your inner child doesn't want to be abandoned or what have you. And so in order to stand up for yourself and your independence as an adult, you have to reassure that inner child that you're safe, that you are looking out for inner child, and that you can be trusted because you care about your future and theirs, and that they're not going to have to be subject to the same abuse or mistreatment anymore. But you have to follow up on that. You have to, like in your life now, and if people try to mistreat you, you can't let them do that, right? Because that inner child is still inside of you experiencing that, going, hey, what the fuck? What you said you weren't going to let this happen. And your current self is like, hey, what the fuck? We said we weren't going to let this happen. I can't trust. It's because you can't, like, you don't trust yourself, and therefore you're definitely not trusting of other people, because you've seen the most untrustworthy people and what they're capable of. So now it's like you don't know how to trust because you haven't taught yourself how to be trustworthy to you. So inner child healing. There could also be the fact that someone is considering whether or not they want to have kids, or they're wondering whether or not you do, or whether or not you'd be good parents together, if your values align in such a way that you would be good co-parents, or that you would have the kind of relationship that would nurture the environment to raise children well. I mean, there are some relationships that have potential to produce very healthy children, and they would be relationships that it would be great to have kids within. But then I've also had relationships before that in many ways I was satisfied as an adult, but I wouldn't have felt like it was like even a good relationship to have children within, let alone me feeling like I was fulfilled and thriving enough for a long enough period within that relationship to actually crave children within. So it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things where sometimes it can be a case-by-case basis, honestly. So children, yay or nay may be a factor right now. And true love. Regardless of all of the factors at play, whatever this is could be a true love situation. And, it's like you just never know what something is or could be until you give it a shot. And I think we over obsess about if it's going to work out, or, we get caught up in that future tripping. But you just don't know until you know. You don't know until you get to know someone and how you interact and what kind of chemistry you have, and you just take it from there, right? So try not to be so serious. Many experiences are worth having regardless of whether or not it's ultimately going to work out the way that you hope it will or not, right? I was thinking the other day, most of the things that I regret in this life are not the things that I've done, but the pieces of fashion that I did not buy, to be quite honest. And I think that that's funny because in a way it sounds really vapid and shallow, but in a way it's not. Like, I don't regret, I've had a really full life, full of multiple flavors and dimensions and sweets and sours and bitters. And I wouldn't change most of it. But honestly, the things that haunt me, there was one breakup that I would have done better, but it's just because I'd never really broken up with anybody, and I kind of panicked and just didn't know how to handle it. And then I would have been nicer about it. I think I just came off cold. And then I have pieces of clothing that from around the world that I think about that I'm like, man, I wish I would have just bought that. Fuck, I didn't. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's good. I think it's good to just, regret is the way that the devil gets you twice. The male Satan, or the masculine energy of the pure force of the opponent, tempts you and tricks you the first time, but it's the female or the feminine energy of the opponent that comes back behind and makes you feel crappy about it, makes you second guess yourself, makes you look back, makes you regret, makes you bemoan. She's the one that makes you feel is wallowing in despair. That's what she does. So never let the devil get you twice. Don't look back. Don't look back in anger. Just say. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I hope y'all have a saucy, romantic, sexy kind of week, and I will do the same. And yeah, I think I might have a nice bubble bath tonight and see what's good on the tube. I'm feeling like I've had a break from Outlander for a couple of days, so I might be in for some Outlander binging tonight. I'm kind of feeling it. I feel a little bit cozy, a little bit romantic on a Thursday, a little bit inspired. All right, y'all, ciao.